Earlier this month, Israeli President Isaac Herzog wrote a letter to the presidents of American universities, urging them to fight this rise in anti-Semitism happening on campuses. An excerpt reads, "At stake is whether the enlightened world will defend the basic norms of humanity or choose to accept, even support their violation. This will either be a teaching moment that moves us toward constructive action or a moment of irreversible decline. Your choices now will shape history and will be remembered." President Isaac Herzog joins us now. President Herzog, thank you and welcome to the program. So which moment is this?
Thank you, Sandra.
Thank you for being here.
It's a deciding moment in the fate of world affairs because we are faced between a coalition of hate, a coalition of, I call it darkness, which is a jihadist coalition, which emanates from Tehran with its proxies in Lebanon, in Gaza, of course, by Hamas, in Yemen with the Houthis, and of course spreading Islamic fundamentalist jihadism all over the world. If Israel weren't there, then Europe will be next, and the United States is for sure next, because they call the United States the big Satan. And that is why I think those protesters who are supporting Hamas, they're actually accomplices to the whole notion that you can butcher young children, that you can chop heads of women, that you can rape women and pregnant women, that you can abduct old age Holocaust survivors, and you can do a whole bunch of atrocities because you basically support Hamas. That's what they've done. And I just finished an immensely moving meeting with family members of over 40 children who are under captivity as hostages in Gaza by Hamas. Children from 10 months old. That's what these protesters are supporting. None of them. Today is International Children's Day. I repeat, today is International Children's Day. Where are all these protesters? Do they demand the immediate release of these children, let alone the entire group of hostages, and all those who have gone through the treacherous, horrendous, barbaric attack on 7th of October?
President Herzog, you mentioned the hostages and this deal that we're starting to learn more details about. Biden officials say this hostage deal is close, including negotiations with the U.S., Israel, and Qatari officials, that dozens of hostages could be freed of the 240 in coming days. What more can you tell us about that right now?
Not much, really, because we are all waiting, and we are dealing on the opposite side with the leadership of Hamas, led by Yahya Sinwar, who's basically a psychopath in the way he operates. So nothing that you and I can say really changes the picture. We're only waiting for what is the basic humanitarian deed, which is releasing the children and the women, and of course all the rest of the hostages. We now learned about 2 hostages that were murdered in Gaza. We reported about it in the last few days. But because I focused also on the entire picture, let me point out to you another horrendous development of the last day or two, and perhaps again in the very near future. So this coalition of hate includes a partner in Yemen called the Houthis, the Houthi militias. They announced for the first time in history since medieval times that they are going to act as pirates and take hostage a ship. They've already taken one ship hostage, a major big ship, a Japanese, with helicopters in the high seas, a ship which was taking goods from Turkey to India, and they announced formally that they are new pirates. Today they announced again that they plan to take another ship in a pirate way. Do you believe that in modern times we are seeing piracy again in the high seas? Where is the international community? They have to put a stop to it, and this is truly under the clear instructions of Iran. Iran gives instructions to the Houthis, and Iran gives them the instructions and the information and the details about how to operate in the high seas. So this is the battle we're in, and the United States is firm, both sides of the aisle, together with us and many other nations, in fighting this coalition of evil.
Speaking of the international community, to this day, the UN still has not condemned Hamas. Why is that?
because the UN is a hypocritical organization where they are playing for many, many years with anti-Semitic language and rhetoric, ongoing every year, automatic resolutions against Israel. Some they even forgot that they pass, but they pass every year. And it's a kind of an automatic majority. Rather than saying the truth, because we all know the truth, there is mileage in the sadism, and I've seen this footage. I've seen this footage. It's amazing. I mean, it's so atrocious to see how thousands of Palestinians in Gaza celebrate the dead body, the mutilated body of a young girl who was celebrating in a nature festival. This is the whole clash of civilizational values that we're in.
President Herzog, I want to talk about the ground operations in Gaza as Israel is expanding these operations in northern Gaza. U.S. officials say they're concerned about potential operations in southern Gaza. Thousands of civilians, as we know, have fled there, Mr. President, from the north under evacuation orders. Deputy National Security Advisor Jonathan Feiner said this.
There is a real concern because hundreds of thousands of residents of Gaza have fled now from the north to the south at Israel's request. And we think that their operation should not go forward until those people, those additional civilians, have been accounted for.
To that you say what, Mr. President?
That indeed, as Mr. Feiner said, they are accounted for, meaning there's a whole infrastructure down south which accommodates civilians who have left the northern part because it's a war zone and because it's in their homes. We find now in schools huge amount of missiles and grenades and bombs and mortars and what's not in schools. We find it, of course, in the hospitals. We showed the world yesterday how the abduction and the kidnapping was taking place also in hospitals. We are been claiming this for years, and above, that's what you see above ground. Underneath it is a huge terror city, huge. I mean, you're talking about tunnels that can carry lorries and cars and jeeps and so forth and so on. Billions of dollars being invested there by some taxpayers' money from Western countries who wanted to help the Gazan people legitimately. We all were in favor of it, but the money was laundered and taken for the use of terror. And we are uprooting a major terror infrastructure which is threatening the entire Middle East. And we have to build now the future of how it will look like afterwards so that there will be hope for the people of Gaza, so that they will be able to live in peace in democratic circumstances.
Mr. President, we have a photo of what you say are Hamas terrorists using children as shields as they fight Israeli troops. Can you tell us about this? How often this is happening?
It's actually happening for years, unfortunately. Now, in the battleground, at times, what they have done, I mean, they carry their terror operations from living rooms, from children's bedrooms, from mosques, from shops. When the world says to us, you have the right for self-defense, or the American administration correctly says, the duty for self-defense, meaning defending our people. The problem is that the enemy operates from civilian premises. And as such, we found, I exposed like a week ago, Adolf Hitler's book, Mein Kampf, the book that was actually the starter for the horrific events of World War II and the Holocaust, which is the worst genocide in human history of Jews. That was of Jews. Mein Kampf was found in a living room, which was used as a war operating room by Hamas against Israeli civilians. From there, they launched missiles. Does any American citizen have a missile in his bedroom, living room, or garden? Does any American or decent person in the world take children after chopping their parents and take them into this cellar somewhere and tortures them? This is what we're going through. This is a battle between evil and good, period.
I've got to leave it there. Mr. President, if I could just leave off where we began, are you optimistic on those hostages?
We are praying.
Okay.
We are doing our best to bring them back home. We are demanding, we are calling upon the international community to be as forceful as possible, also to point out to Iran and, of course, all the brokers that are dealing with this and demand the immediate release of all of the hostages, definitely the women and children, and we hope and pray that there will be a positive outcome in the next few days.
Okay. President Herzog, we appreciate you joining us today. Thank you very much. Isaac Herzog.
Thank you very much, Sandra.
Thank you.